Yeah, thinking of talking about what's worth documenting with a vibe code project. Because now that I've actually launched this thing, I kind of have a little bit better sense of the practical things of it, as opposed to just the theory of it that I've been working on.
Yeah, I have a lot to contribute to that. So
Yeah.
let me make sure we're live. We are live, baby. We are live. Your camera's on the wrong one, by the way.
Oh, is it there now?
No, you're. Oh, yeah, there we go. That was
Mm.
my reminder of like Michael, Michael. That's what I need to make it do. I'm gonna record it to say Michael, Michael, Michael.
I will not pick up that cue. I'll be like, yep, that is my name. Correct. Very correct.
Like my shirt, it matches my tattoo.
Let me move things over and make it big enough so I can see your shirt. My CRSM, your CMS solution.
I have the my
You have a
CRM
tattoo of
son.
that? What? Did you lose a bet or something? Or
No, I got a free account for life, baby.
oh my goodness, I've heard of those things, right? Yeah, you get a tattoo, you get a free account for life. Sure. Trade you.
Yeah, I love my CRM sim, man. It's like it's the most powerful like way to it's what I run my life with because it connects to my iPhone and high level. And so I can bridge the two together and then all of my text messages run through high level. So I have automations set up on like keywords and stuff like that.
In like 2 or 3 years from now, when like phone communications are all completely upended and we don't even have the internet anymore, people are going to be like, "What's that? Relic
Yeah, I
from the
know, right?
past 2 years ago." Phones, you don't just connect via like your AI now, like like it's just the AI ether that we all just kind of communicate through.
Yeah, really. The AIs just talk to each other. Like it's just a bunch of Claude bots.
They become the hive mind.
Yeah.
So man, it's just going to be me and you today talking about documentation for the people on the YouTubes and the live stream.
You don't think anyone else
Oh
is
wait,
gonna
we're not
join?
even at 10 yet. We're not at 10 yet. That's why.
Yeah, we're not at 10 yet. I went live a little bit early, but I figured I'd get some people to join.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
Dude, check out this app that let me share this app that I'm working on. Uh, Let me pull it up. Hold on a second. Cursor. So share my screen. Joa's joining. Share screen. All right, so this is the idea behind this app. So basically, um, you can, let me move some windows around so it's a little bit easier to see. So many tabs. So the idea is that you can learn like multiple languages through singing, right? So this is a friend of mine's idea, and I think it's like it has so many legs, like because like that's a lot of the way that I learned Spanish was through my dad's CDs and like laying in the basement and listening to and then looking it up on AZ lyrics and like it had the translation. And so basically you go to the library and there's so many videos on like TikTok and YouTube of these people that are learning music
Well,
and or they're
do you know
learning
who
language
do you know
through
who the
music.
origin do you know who the original of this is though, right? You know
No.
the have you ever heard of Ken Lee?
Uh-uh.
Oh, this is the patron saint of learning a language through is Uh, I'll have to send it to you after. I don't want to. It's a lady who was on like The Voice for some, I don't know, South American thing, and she sang Mariah Carey's "Can't Live" uh, in English, but she didn't speak English.
Oh yeah. Well,
And
that's the whole point is that like, and you
Ken
look at
Lee dibba dibba dow to I can't. Anyway, sorry.
you like there are so many videos of people that are like watching like YouTube videos and like translating it, but they're like learning Spanish, but they rewind constantly, right?
Hmm.
So my friends solve the rewind problem because what you do is you come in and you have it auto segments the songs, like it does like all these different functions. And you basically let me see if I can share sound. There we go, share sound. You basically come here and you hit like listen, and it plays just that one verse. And then you can like master just that one verse, but it gives you the translation, and you can also hover over the word and it'll give you like the phrase of like what it means and how it's used. And like Bad Bunny is like the worst example of like artists to use because he uses so many slang words. So like I picked his song, well, she picked his song as like the test case for the app because if the app can translate his music, then it can translate anything. Um, but then you have like practice mode. So you can come in here and um you can pick like wait, where's my you can come in here and you can actually record. So baby ya yo me enteré, se nota cuando me, and it'll actually analyze your voice and give you what you pronounce correctly. And then it tells you like you pronounce 9 words correctly. You need to practice this words, musica electronica. But you can, and then you can actually karaoke the entire song. So if you go back here to library and you click on the sing along, like it'll play the actual entire song and you can karaoke the entire thing. It'll score you as you're karaokeing it in line.
Yeah, feedback, man. Feedback's a powerful thing for sure.
Um, but yeah, that's been my like little project is like collabing with her on building it out. Yeah, I think it's super cool. Like I think
Yeah.
learning a language through um learning a
I
language
know
through,
somebody I know somebody that's been trying all kinds of different learning language stuff. And it's like when you show me this app, it's like the first thing, even though I was not skeptically laughing, but like as I said, it's kind of the Ken Lee thing. But it's like I instantly also thought of like, oh wait, I actually know somebody who could use this. And like I would if I saw this in my feed, I'd be like, hey, Cody, you should probably check this out. You probably be interested in this. So yeah, that's got legs.
thanks, man. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for her. We have to figure out the music licensing part. That's the one.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you figure that one? Because that's the big part. That's going to be a big part.
That's the tricky
Now,
part. But you can use like more obscure artists and older songs and like more like popular older songs, and they're cheaper.
so I'm trying to even thinking about it. It's just like if you have like a YouTube video, it's like I'm wondering if there's ways that you can cut out because just like you can license, you don't not license, you're not playing the whole music, but like if you're playing the music video, YouTube video, you're not you're not hosting. I don't know how the legalities work. You definitely have to look at that, but it's like if you take public songs and it's playing the YouTube play from YouTube or something, and then it's just cutting up the parts. It's like what parts that are not part of the licensing or the copyright can you still use? Like you can still use lyrics,
The
I'm
problem
assuming.
the
Yeah.
problem is the YouTube player doesn't allow you to chop it up at a high enough resolution. So you end up with bleed over in the song, like in the song, and it doesn't
You
function
lose
the
the feel. Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
yeah, so you
So
have
I'm
to
wondering if it's just more like plugging your own audio files that you own.
yeah, essentially. So we're gonna try some different things, but I reached out to a couple people I know that are like producers and like artists and things like that. Like one of the perks to having a big network is that like I have the ability to just ask people on Facebook and then all of a sudden like I get tons of referrals. But one of the things that I was like wanted that I wanted to show um is the documentation piece. So let me reshare my screen. One of the things I wanted to show is the documentation piece, which is what we were going to talk about today. So, first off, welcome everybody to our Thursday shenanigans with our illustrious host, Mr. Michael Pacito. Uh, we are talking today about vibe coding and vibe coding documentation. And so every task that I do, for the most part, and every like major piece has extensive documentation associated with it. And what I can do is I can actually drop this documentation into the feedback loop. And so I just can just take this whole folder, drop this folder into the feedback loop and keep feeding back the documentation to keep the context up to date. And it's so much more powerful when you're like vibe coding, and it also like things like the database setup and stuff like that, right? Like these are all like really critical pieces that you need to like be aware of, and the AI needs to be aware of. And for you to be able to hand it off to somebody, like they need to be able to understand like, what different facets of the application exist. So you always create like a README file, right? And then in your README file, it references all the other files and you keep your document. So I have a documentation agent that runs in parallel with all the rest of my agents. And that documentation agent is responsible for keeping that living that living document set up to date as possible. And then the other thing is like in your GitHub commits, like having AI write your GitHub commits is like the greatest thing in the world. Because when I write a GitHub commit, it's like change some shit. And like that's the description of my GitHub commit. But when I use AI to write it, it actually writes out like what changes it made and how it impacted the file structure. And then the AI can actually read those commits. So it's like there's so many different aspects of vibe coding documentation that are important, that I think people often lose sight of or lose track of or just don't implement in the first place.
And I think part of the problem is because I've done my very first vibe coding, right? So hashtag not an expert, but the beginning part of the project went so friggin' fast because, well, one, I was already using an app that I've documented. I've documented the relational database of how do you manage a high level system. So it goes so fast and the AI is so friggin' smart. But when you start adding, I started noticing as I started coming up with newer ideas, new features, different aspects of like, okay, well, now I have an onboarding to this app. That's something I've never documented before because this app is new. That's another thing that the AI has to keep in mind that there's that the onboarding portion kind of tags into different features on the app. And then it's like, okay, well, I also now have like an AI kind of walkthrough agent that will start doing some of the work for you. That's another thing that you got to keep it in mind. Then there's multiple use like, and I just started realizing that it started having trouble because I started adding more tools, functions, calls, and I'm not a dev, so I'm making up the words here, but like, you know what I'm saying? All those different things that have to be taken into account when you build something. Otherwise, the AI rebuilds that whole, like, hey, I made a new
Yeah.
page. The AI rebuilds all the features that are already in the rest of the app. So, yeah, it's and so does the skill, is it able to, how much of it is it getting it without you kind of having to explicitly say, hey, I just built this new feature. Remember this, this, and this. How much of it is just doing that part for you?
It auto does it.
That is friggin' sack.
Like it auto, I have it instructed to run in parallel with every command. So it always runs the skill. Well, it's an
Man.
agent, sub agent, but it always runs the sub agent. And you can do this in like Claude Code. You can do it in Cursor. You can't do it in Lovable. Like Lovable, unfortunately, is not very good with documentation. Um, but like Cursor and Claude Code, like you can write a sub agent to run in parallel to all of your commands. And that sub agent is tied to the documentation skill. And the documentation skill um is what like it also has a pretty extensive instruction on what format the documentation should be in that is a
Hmm.
format AI can read easily.
Yes. The main takeaway, because like not everybody's in the vibe coding, some people are in the high level space. The main thing has always been it's the decisions that you make along the way. You need to know the structure and the implications of what you're building right now and what you're doing and the decisions they're made. Because if you can record those, as you said with the GitHub commits, like this is why we did this. Um, if you have that document, it's a lot easier to undo things that go wrong, right? Because you have the reason for this thing. And if the AI can see the reason for why this tool was built, if you have conflicts later, the AI can look at and say, oh, the reason for this no longer exists. Like the reason this tool was made was for this reason, but in this version of the app, we don't need that anymore.
Right.
So that was one thing I noticed the AI doing because I don't have a great documentation tool like yours, but um, I was giving it a little bit of that. And I'm in Lovable too. So I was working with caveman tools on that front. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing that comes to mind then is like when I was looking through your app, is like what is the part that humans need to bring to that table, right? Because if okay, we get the AI to do it, okay, well then lessons over, just get the AI to do it. Um, One thing that was jumping out at me is like there's a lot of things that are happening in like the user experience. How much does the AI kind of like is the AI's best guess at what common human interactions or problems or that they're be experiencing on it, or how much do you have to provide in that, because you build the app but then humans actually using the app. Yeah, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on that, or
Yeah,
if you're
so
still learning that part.
you have to bring to the table the initial documentation. So like let me pull up Manus and I'll show you what I mean. So you have to bring to the table the initial documentation, which there's something now called Manus skills. And so I have a PRD writer skill, and I would tell it like, analyze my code base and write. So what I'd actually do is I'd go to like GitHub and I'd go into Lyraverse and then I go into my docs folder, I'd zip this folder.
We don't see all that, by the way, because Zoom's probably
Yeah.
hiding the pop-ups. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd zip that folder and then I'd
So what are
tell it
those docs so that we can follow? Yeah, so people
the,
could follow along. What?
all those docs are what I had in my because you can't always document something initially. Like this is coming from a place of like I wrote an app in Lovable and I asked Lovable to document everything in a docs folder, which it can do. You can tell Lovable to document everything in a docs folder
Yeah.
and to write all the markdown files. So that's what's in this docs folder.
So this is really important. I think an important thing is that what you're saying is that you went and built a prototype. You you started working with it, you built something in Lovable, you kind of saw it, you got ideas, you refined it, because you didn't just have all of the ideas in your head, throw it into this PRD writer, and it just made an app for you, right? Like, am I hearing
No,
you correct on that?
you can. So like
You
the
can,
alternative,
but in this case, you didn't. Like these docs, you
right?
said these were generated from an actual project you've been working on.
Yeah, exactly. And
Gotcha.
so like I'll go into the purity writer and say like analyze these documents and write a comprehensive purity document set based on the attached documentation examples. And this is literally all I have to say, hit enter. And what it'll do is it'll extract the zip file. The alternative is like I'll go to Google Drive and I'll go to like the photographer app, right? So this is an app that I've been working on, and essentially what I do is I typed all of this out, right? So this is the alternative. Like I typed all of this out. Now what I do is I download this document and take this document and then upload this document to Manus and do the exact same thing. But what it's doing right now is it's going through and analyzing all of that documentation, like what are the technologies, like what tools does it have, everything like that. But I can also do it with this one, so I can download this file and I'll do all tabs, and then I'll come back in Manus, create a new task, upload that markdown file, and say, based on this description, use my purity writer skill. Based on this description and the Q&A in the attached document, please write a comprehensive PRD, including all of the tech specs, user stories, and accompanying information. And it'll just read this document. So what I do when I document an app is I'll essentially talk out using Whisper Flow or something like that. Or I'll type it out. I'll talk out, 4 or 5 pages. I go through my QA rounds, my AI generated QA rounds, and eventually like I use that purity, which I'll share this purity writer skill. And I shared it in the community for Legendary Academy, so people can download it and use it. But like this, like you could take your existing app and upload the entire code base to Manus as a zip file, run the PRD writer skill, and then feed that into Cursor, and it'll build you like a V2 of your app.
Why don't I just give that a go? If I have Manus credits on the free, it's been a while since I've used Manus, but I have a fair amount of credits, but I'm only on like a free plan. Do you need any advanced version of Manus or anything for that, or just
I
stock
don't
Manus should be fine?
Stock Manus should be fine. I don't think so. You have the PRD writer skill I sent you, right?
Yeah. I did. I just didn't have a solid. I just had no reason to really use it, but now I do because I'm going to take my app that I've spent a week and a half pretty solidly on developing and all that, and seeing what would could could I rebuild this in one shot, and that would be an experience.
Yeah, that's where like Cursor comes in. Because Cursor is substantially more powerful than Lovable. And I was explaining this to my friend when we were working on her app, how Lovable is like it's so good at keeping everything in a box because everything is very well, like the AI is very well defined. Skills are very well defined. Like everything is very curated and lovable. And so it's much more like you are an advisor to a captain and a driver, or a captain and a pilot, versus Cursor, where you are the captain and then Cursor is the pilot. So you have two very different types of like vibe coding. But with one of the advantages to Cursor is that like it is, you can do more one shot stuff. And one shot doesn't necessarily mean you put in one command and it just spits out an app. Like I call it babysitting, right? So you're not actually providing feedback. You're literally just going through the same three steps over and over again. So when I say it takes me like 8 to 12 hours to build an app, like that 8 to 12 hours is really only 30 minutes of work. I have to sit in front of my computer for 8 to 12 hours, but I can be multitasking, waiting for the ding of cursor being done. But what I do is ask, plan, build, ask, plan, build, ask, plan, build with an occasional debug step in the process. But that's where documentation becomes so powerful because if you have good documentation and proper instructions for the AI to follow, and you have the right questions and the right answers to those questions that the AI can reference, like um there's no inference. It's all explicit. So when like the worst thing that AI can do is guess, right? But if you give it extremely detailed instructions on how to accomplish a task at like a 10,000-foot view, then the AI will almost always do it perfectly. And that's where the documentation becomes so critical. It's not just on the back end for a human to read it or an AI to analyze it. It's on the construction piece as well.
Mhm. It's translating the human part to the AI part. Because
Right.
like you have an idea, you have a problem that you want to solve, you have an experience you want to create. You don't want to have to know how does that, what React libraries and JS shenanigans need to be created. You need to be really focused on what is the problem that needs solving and how do we know it's been solved. That's one thing that I've noticed is, and it seems to me then that the really critical part, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, that critical part then is really that 30, you said the 30 minutes of your involvement. It's a very critical 30 minutes because you can't just say, hey, I want an app that does this. Now it could probably do that, but you need a little bit of inside knowledge of why that app needs to be there. Because like
Yeah.
as you said, Lovable, one thing I found is it had a certain way that it solved the problem, but I'm like, that's not what a quick example. My documentation app was what I vibe coded, and it was really good at making these really pretty dashboards. But I wasn't building a dashboard. I'm building a a documentation thing, kind of like an Airtable, that's probably going to live on my screen at the same time as the thing that I'm going to be like interacting with. So it needs to be really space efficient, right? I need it. I need like as maximum amount of space for writing and seeing information, and asking for a documentation tool, it didn't get it anywhere close to the real thing that you need, which is efficient data that's clear, easy to read, easy to manipulate, easy to change. And it took a while for me to get that across. So your documentation isn't just what it is, but what is the problem that the user is experiencing on the site? Like what's stopping them from just going to AI themselves and solving this problem? Right? What
Right.
are those little micro things? And if you get those, yeah, it seems is that what you're saying then?
Yeah, exactly. Like that, my intervention piece is like the guidance and the captaining of the ship, where like, and this is why I'm so excited for my glasses that I just got, like that are sitting on my desk at home that I haven't had a chance to go get yet, but because I'm in Mexico. But my glasses, I'm gonna figure out they have a dev kit And so I'm going to figure out how to stream the cursor output into my glasses so that I can watch the cursor agent output in my in my AI glasses. Because what I need to be able to do when I'm babysitting is be able to like left and right, essentially you ever went bowling?
Hmm.
Like the
Yeah, you got
bumper.
that. You're going for like the little the things that blow up on the side to keep you in the
Yeah,
lane.
the gutters. I mean the bumpers, right? So I basically create the bumpers and I keep the AI bouncing between the bumpers so that it doesn't go off the rails. And
It's
that's the guidance piece that you need that documentation can't accomplish is and that's where like everyone's like, oh, AI is going to replace software developers, AI is going to replace people, blah, 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 blah. Like the truth is, like at some point, yeah, AI might replace some people, but it's going to be a long time until we get there because even with the documentation, you still need that human intervention because AI is at the end of the day a predictive model and it's
yeah.
incapable of doing anything. Like when it guesses, it can guess wrong. 1 out of 10 times it might guess right, but the 9 out of 10 times that it guesses wrong, you're hosed.
So there's the thing I've noticed when in the high level world, there's all kinds of people that talk about AI. Oh, I got this AI to document things. Oh, I built this documentation. Look how awesome it is. And I take one look at it in about 5 seconds, I can tell that the AI can't replace this, isn't they didn't get it right because they went and they didn't know what the problem they're trying to solve with documentation is.
Right.
You're not trying to document something that the AI can replace. Like in high level, we don't need documentation of just like the overall thing of what the snapshot is or things like that. What we need is to know is like, why does this workflow exist? What, what does it connect to? We need to understand like what are the different people, the users, like the tech people, the account managers. What does the CFO of a marketing agency need to know about the snapshot to be able to do his financial decisions and planning and things like that? You need something that understands that. And a lot of times when people are vibe coding stuff, it's really apparent who actually knows boots on the ground what's the problem and who's just trying to like sell the sizzle. And so when Mario's talking here about documenting what you want, I think a really important thing is you have to not just know what you want as from like a high level. You have to really know is what's actually happening. That what is the actual boots on the ground, the reality of what like your translation app or your learning a language app, right? It's like if you just ask the AI to build a music language teaching thing, it'll get it okay. But the more you know about, well, what actually stops somebody from learning a language? Where do people actually struggle? What's the mental stuff when you're going through the process? You can't just, you need to know those things and have those things explicit. Otherwise, the AI is going to give you something kind of generic.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, and there's a version, like someone else built a similar app using AI, right? And all it does is it's just a karaoke machine with the Spanish language, the Spanish lyrics on top and the English lyrics right below it. And it's like that doesn't actually teach you anything because people want to, and you can't pause or rewind. And if you like, she did all the market research, like she did all of the like analysis of like the YouTube and TikTok videos and everything like that. And what she found was that people were constantly rewinding and going over the same verse over and
Yes.
over again. And so that's where like AI didn't get like this other guy that built this other version like didn't get it right. And why I think her app is going to be successful is because she actually solves the core problems of and then one of the next steps is like there's so many YouTube and um TikTok videos of her or of people putting out these like they're viral videos. And so she's going to make it where you can actually download your karaoke session and put it on, like it'll record your video and you can auto post it to social media. And then like
If you
ads
don't,
are
what you said there is that everyone needs to understand is that that feeling you ever get when you're using an app and it's clear the developers don't actually use the app themselves. I think AI is really going to separate those two types of people, people who develop with with an actual understanding of what it's like using the app and what it's not, because the dev side has been eliminated with AI. Like my first vibe code, and I'm pretty impressed with it. My, like I'm pretty happy. It's probably some big bugs and some things I've done wrong. It's my first go, but it's painfully clear that the excuse for building stuff now is no longer, well, we have to have an expensive dev team, blah blah. No, you need to understand the problem because that's what makes or break things. Like you said, the rewind ability. That's something that's not. Yeah, the AI is going to put the rewind, but it's not just that. It's you got to make it lightning fast because people are going to be doing that 10 times, like 100 times a minute, probably, right? That's those insights that are super important. And what'll make somebody pick your app up and go, Freg, yeah, this actually solves my problem. It doesn't just technically solve my problem if I learn 1,000 other things. Wow. Shoot,
yeah.
dude. Sorry, I'm going to rant, but I just want to make sure
No.
everyone gets what Mario just said there because that's huge.
What's up, Lior? Dude, I watched a fire show for the first
Yeah,
time the other night. It
yeah,
was freaking epic, bro.
yeah. No,
Like they didn't do any of the fire eating or fire blowing, but
that's different. Yeah.
yeah, but it was super freaking cool, man. Like they had these chains that they broke out with sparks
Where they
that
spin
can,
it.
where they spin the chains and every time it hits the ground it like creates this like massive spark show.
Yeah.
Dude, it was so cool. Like we had so much fun. We had like a table, like we got like I got like bottle service and a table and dinner like at like right smack dab in the front of the show.
Nice. You felt the heat?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Awesome. Glad you enjoyed it. Yep. That's what my friends do. I don't perform with those things. Like I do more of the partying and stuff, but that's what most of my friends do. Um, yeah. Where was that in Mexico? I'm not sure where you.
Yeah, I'm in Mexico right now. I'm in
Oh, you're still there?
Cancun. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Nice.
And then I go to Playa del Carmen. So I was supposed to leave Saturday, and then my friend and I decided to like, because it was her birthday on Monday, and she didn't have any plans at home. And she's in Vegas, so I'm gonna introduce you guys.
Cool.
She's super cool. And she's really well connected too.
Hell yeah.
Um, but she didn't have any plans, so I was like, hey, like, why don't you just stay? You know Kayla Love, right?
We met once on Zoom in one of those calls. Yeah.
Yeah, it's her cousin.
Right.
So she was like, yeah, I don't have any plans. I was like, let's just stay. Like, I haven't gone on a vacation in like a decade. And like we'd be like good travel buddies. So she ended up staying and then we were gonna leave. She was supposed to leave Tuesday and I was like, stay until Thursday. And then I was like, actually, I just rescheduled my flight until Saturday, like stay until Saturday. So now we're just hanging out in Mexico.
Hell yeah. Living the dream.
Yeah, man, it's been a good week. But one of the fun things is like we've been like and just talking about documentation. Like we've been working on documenting this app because she had no documentation whatsoever. And so I don't you didn't get on the call until afterwards, but I was showing Mike and everyone else like this learning language app for like Spanish and English, and it basically plays the Spanish lyric, you sing the Spanish lyric, and then it tells you the translation in English so you understand exactly what's being said. And it's all AI powered. So you upload the MP3 file of the song or you upload the YouTube video of the song, and it spits out the entire like course essentially.
That's cool.
Um, But yeah, we've been documenting that app, and that was like the first step when I took over the project was like there was no documentation whatsoever. And it was like document, document, document. And now she's like, holy shit, you can just basically write the app like while you're sleeping. And I was like, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I've Andrew just sent me his I just realized it's his, but the Meet Claude thing where he like,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna start going through that and learn like the basics of coding, so like I understand what's happening when I'm vibe coding. um yeah, I need to start dabbling in
You
that.
should, dude. You'd be good at it.
Yeah.
Dude, man, give yourself like a budget of like $30, something really, really small,
I can do
and
30.
just give yourself something saying like, hey, like in level, like that's how I started. I said, I said $30, and now I'm like $400 in. But like,
Sounds like a lead
but
magnet
like,
to, to
no,
an
no, what I'm
office.
saying was like the $30 for me. The only reason I went all in is because I said, okay, what can I do in 30 with $30? I'm going to try and keep within it. So I was watching the credits kind of go down and kind of making sure the project would wrap up. And I got something that was kind of workable with that. And that was enough. I probably could have stopped there because I learned so much. Even just understanding what's possible is what it gave me. And just because I was in a position I could go all in, I just decided to, hey, let's do that. Let's go all in. But like most of my learning like was in that first $30. And it's good just to, because that way when you are ready, you can just go, hey, if your project comes, an opportunity comes where you want to know, you at least know what's possible with $30. Maybe it's something small, a tool you can build for yourself. Oh, look, for like $10, I know I could build a little tool for myself in Lovable just for my own use. So yeah.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work out, you're like, well, I'm only at $30. I'll try again maybe next month, like that kind of a thing. Maybe we'll give it a go and see things that go with different. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. I'm really interested in seeing how vibe coding can um work with GHL. So like using it as like another layer in GHL. So it's um like it's using the infrastructure and the capabilities are already there and like making it more friendly and easier to use.
I I have a theory that high level's best play right now is to go all in on like the really hard parts, the relationships, the distribution with providers like Twilio, WhatsApp, and all things like that, and then give everybody an open platform to just do
Right.
their own user experience. Like as Mario said, the bumpers in the bowling lane, right? Like
Yeah.
saying, hey guys, this is what our relationships need. This is the requirements that every relationship with Twilio and things, like you can't just do whatever you want. It has to kind of meet this format. And as long as it kind of funnels into this format, how the experience is and all that on top of it, just let the AI just let everyone go to town with however they want to do things. But then they just provide that structure, back end distribution, the major players. I feel that's where they should go. Because that's the part that's going to protect them from the vibe coding or just not vibe coding, but even probably any kind of competitor is your distribution. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Am I on base with that, Mario, or is that?
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
But the thing is, at the end of the day, we can't control what high level does and what their approach is. So I'm I don't know if they're gonna go with that approach, right? So I don't want to plan for that.
Yeah, they need to their whole plan was to be an API first platform,
But they're not.
but they're not. Like they just deprecated that one API and
That's like everyone's using, or like
that
everybody.
everyone was using, and everyone's like pitchforks. And then Sean's like, we didn't do that. And everyone's like, actually, you did.
But shout out to Andrew for breaking the ice on that one.
What do you do?
Andrew was like, lies, lies.
That was basically, yeah, he just said Lamau, Sean. Like, you can't say that. because like he didn't be like, oh, I appreciate it, but here's another way. He's just like, no, dude, you can't say that. It's just like
Yeah.
it's a joke. I love that guy so much.
Yeah, me too.
That's why he keeps getting banned.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I wonder why he keeps getting
Like
banned.
he's Mario, like he's worse than you.
I know. That's saying something too.
You used to be the one who gets banned.
I've toned down though.
Yeah,
I learned my lesson when they tried to blacklist all my friends. So
yeah,
like they didn't come after me, they went after everybody else.
yeah. That's different.
So I was like, no, I'll pipe down. Like I don't want my friends' lives affected.
Yeah,
So but yeah, the documentation tools that I've been creating, I think specifically around like new skills in Manus and Cursor and stuff like that, and being able to really like imbue the personality of the app in the documentation is so critical.
yeah.
And that's one of the things that I've been working on. And like I feel like there's so much opportunity. Like Leo, you're gonna love vibe coding, dude.
That's
Especially with
my fear. I'm worried that I'm gonna do that all day and then not focus on all the other things that I need to make money.
but you can make money on it. That's the thing, is that like if you build micro apps for people and you build like lead magnets for people, you can charge like $50 a month per lead magnet, and you just copy and paste the same lead magnet over and over again.
Say that again.
If you build lead magnets in like Lovable or something like that, and like let's say you build like a event registration tool and check-in tool, and you build that in Lovable, dude, you can sell it, like you just make it multi-tenant and you can sell it as a SaaS and like diversify your income. Because one of the things that I fear, and I've been fearing for some time, is putting all of the eggs in the high level basket.
Yeah,
And that's what everyone's been doing. And it's proving, and like all the people that put all their eggs in the assistable basket, right? Like assistable fucking
what's
crumble.
what's assistable? I'm
They're
looking.
the voice AI that was built on
Oh,
retail that
yeah.
they basically went dark for 2 weeks.
Oh,
Like their whole system stopped working for 2 weeks. And they were like, oh, sucks to be a customer, essentially.
yeah.
Because they couldn't figure because they vibe coded and they couldn't figure out how to fix it. And like
But that's like part of my fear.
but if you don't make changes, like once you have stable code, you don't make changes, like you're not going to break things. They have a very
That
poor dev process.
Leor, that's why I was saying for me, what my big takeaway, I'm not sure if you were here for it, that first 30 credits I used, I got pretty far into it. And I also said like my first like 100 credits I used, the app was flying and everything was like perfect and things are going. It's only been in the last it's this last half of the project where it started. I've been adding more features, way more features. It's a full product now, right? That things are starting to get a little bit not unmanageable, but like I'm seeing the signs. So, but what Mario is talking about is like if you keep it really simple, really small, point solutions, things that are really good for your kind of market, right? Uh, it doesn't. It's easy to fix and also easy to rebuild because you could
So
rebuild it in like an hour, right?
yeah, so what I'm thinking is like my approach, because I do have clients who are using my white label and being able to create some sort of a like the code, like it will become a complex thing because there's a lot of things they need. So my kind of thought process is if I can have like a external database that saves the information that also from the vibe coded app, but also from GHL to make sure that the data is somewhere else. Because because that's one of the issues that like the access to the data within GHL is very clunky. Like you don't have access to a lot of things and you can't pull out the data easily in workflows for like more complex reporting and dashboard stuff. So if I can start like creating the specific UI that people need using the functionality of GHL at first and with a third database, and then not relying on GHL because I'll have all the data already secured somewhere else. Eventually being able to only have the part that they need in that one place. That's kind of what I'm thinking. With Lovable, can you also do like can you also have a mobile version, like a mobile app?
Not in Lovable, but I can teach you how to write a mobile app in
Which like,
Cursor.
okay, so Cursor does that?
Yeah, Cursor does. Cursor is language agnostic, so you can write literally any. It can write COBOL. Like it can write any language, pretty much any language that you can think of.
Is it how like so in my brain is like if I'm using Lovable, I'm using Lovable, right? So is that like kind of the things we can use multiple? Can I use
Wait,
like
you can actually use Cursor and Lovable at the same time.
for the same project?
Yeah.
Okay. And so I haven't used Cursor. I'm not sure. I don't know anything about or Manus, but I've heard a lot of great things about both of them.
I don't use Manus for coding. I use Manus for documentation purposes. I use Cursor almost exclusively for coding now.
And you're not using Lovable.
I use Lovable for the front end. So like to make
So the UI is like Lovable, and then
the
the back
back
end
end,
is
the back
Cursor.
end is Cursor.
Okay, I'll understand more once I start actually doing the things.
Well, if you were
Maybe
hanging out in my community and watching all my replays, then you'd know how to do this.
true, but I also do. I'm busy in sales calls all day.
Yeah, no,
I'm like,
it's good. No, dude, it is good to put boundaries on things. I think as long as that's why it's important to just start with something small, even if, because then you'll know. Like you need to find what those limits are before you put limits on yourself.
right.
Uh, right. So yeah, just like as you said, that's why I said you give yourself $30,
Yeah.
uh, and just play around for a weekend on, like you're done all your responsibilities, do something kind of fun and different, give it a couple hours, and now you'll have a better understanding of what the limits of the AI are, and also what is, not a limit. Some things you might say, hey, these are easier, these are harder. But I think just starting with that. Oh, Cam's going to jump in. That's cool.
My Mario, here's the thing. I love learning. I can sit all day and learn everything for like
Yeah.
once I'm hyper fixated, I'm done. But then I'm not doing the actual work that's like needs. So I'm not sure who said it, but my uncle read it in somewhere, and it's like someone who's like famous enough for me not to remember their name, but they
Yeah.
do really interesting things. And he talks about the delta in knowledge, right? So he talks about like there is knowledge that like there's the truth somewhere, right? Like that's what things are, and the people who are closest to that are the experts, right? Who's like their whole thing is like learning, like scientists or whatever, to learn and to get as close to like actual reality as possible. Then there are the people who learn from those scientists, right? Or like from those experts. And then there is the difference between the knowledge that we have and the things we need to do, and the knowledge and us doing the things. That's like a way bigger problem. So I already know all the things I need to do. I'm just not doing. So I'm on purpose not learning new things. So I'll be able to focus on doing the things I already know. So like there's a lot of stuff I don't know, and I'm like, I have to not dive in because I will just go into a rabbit hole for weeks. And
Yeah.
Like I did. So like I disappeared for like a week or two on.
Yeah, I wondered where you went. He
I
was like,
it
I'm
was it
vibe
was lit
coding. Ah! I could just see Michael like the cat meme or the cat gif of the cat on the keyboard, like
or
blah.
like the Jim Carrey, Bruce Almighty answering emails.
Yeah.
it was basically about Cam's fault, actually, if you want to. Cam just jumped in. And Cam's going to he wants something to show something off. So I'll give him the floor if you don't mind there, Mario. But
Yeah, sure.
I had a chat with him about stuff, and I realized I didn't know what I actually wanted to do, with like, and I'm like, you know what? It's like, I don't know anything about vibe coding. And I always preach about like, hey, if you're going to talk about documenting things, you have to have some actual knowledge about the subject matter. And so I'm like, okay. And then so I just played $30 in, and then as I said, it blew out of. Then I'm like, well, I'm gonna launch a freaking app. I'm gonna see it through the end. I got not a lot on my plate, so I have the luxury to be able to just go all in, and then I did. So yeah, but it definitely took a lot of my focus. I was heads down for a bit. But yeah, Cam, man, what's happening?
I'm muted. There we go. What's up? How's everybody?
Good,
Yeah,
man.
it's your
Good.
fault I stopped talking to all my friends for a week or two.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I tell you, it's those rabbit holes sometimes. Like, gosh, they're. I
You took
mean,
your Christmas tree down, bro.
I had to. It ended February.
What?
I keep it up until about February. Then February 1st, I'm like, oh, it was painful. Like, I was sitting there, and wifey looks at me like, you need to take that shit down. I'm like, oh no,
No, I love
50 more
Christmas
days till
trees.
Christmas.
kid inside me. But yeah.
You need to theme it. You need to theme it to all the different seasons. You
Oh,
need
that's
to
such a good
go
idea.
all in. And now you could justify keeping it up because it's now the themed tree, right?
Ooh, that's smart thinking.
Follow me for more all-in ideas. Double down.
That's thinking right there. Heck, what do we have coming up next? It's Easter, right?
Yeah. Well, we got
Valentine's
Valentine's Day. You should decorate it for
Day.
Valentine's Day, and then your wife can't complain.
You can't put little
Ladies,
hearts on there. It's for you.
if you've been gunning for Cam, he's going to be available in the next couple months after he follows my advice. So,
Wifey will
Just put
attack.
but you know what? He's going to have a tree behind him. He's going to have a tree behind him, though.
Put all of her gifts for Valentine's Day under the tree and be like, "It's the Valentine's Day tree, baby. Like, you can't complain.
That's
You want the
actually
gifts or not."
that would be interesting. I might just do that just to see how she. I mean, how long does a Christmas tree really take to put up? 30 seconds. I might just do it just to see how she'll react. And I have a video camera. I mean, right there. I might just
Content, baby.
Yeah,
Got to get them clicks. Anyway, Cam, you had something you want to show. Yeah, man.
Yeah, so I just jumped. I mean, again, I don't know about the meeting. Sorry, I'm so bad, right? But I just noticed you guys were talking about like vibe coding, right? And then you jumped into the lovable stuff, and you jumped into those things. And I don't know if a lot of people are doing the way that I do it. Not that the way that I do it is really good, but I'll put a but there to cut it, right? It's really good. It's really good now. But I just had a company fly me out. They flew me out. They covered everything for me, and I rebuilt their entire operation within 3 days using vibe coding. Like, and the value prop that the AI used was like $1.4 million worth. So it works on a mass scale. So that's kind of what I wanted to show, is kind of like what I do. If it helps people, like,
Yeah, for sure. Let's see it, man.
Sure. So, is it okay if I share?
Yeah.
Okay. So if this helps,
dude, this is open, dude. Like, this is not the Mario and Mike show. This is for us, anyone who's got something valuable to share.
Yeah.
Because we're all learning this together, man. Nobody's got the whole book written yet.
Yeah, well, let's write it. That's all we have to do is write it, and everyone comes to us. And but I'll show
you got it.
Show you a few things. So, this is basically what I did. Okay, so first, we always create stuff, right? Like, I'm always on doing bullshit things like creating stuff, right? Some of these clients, they fly me out, and this is usually how I do it. So what I do is, very first thing is I diagram every little detail, which everyone knows. If they know me, they know the lives, they know these diagrams. Why I would say for everybody to do this, every single person, no matter who the frig you are, it doesn't matter, to do this is because of this. I'll show you a simple, easy little trick. Let me jump into this step. So you diagram the processes out, use something free like draw.io, right? Don't freaking pay for it. Draw.io, you build this thing. I'll just show you, like, this is our onboarding process to get into, can I move this bot? Yep, I can move this down to get into this platform. Okay. So this is the onboarding process. This is complex as shit. And can I swear on this? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Cool. This is complex as shit. It's complex. It's crazy. There's tons of stuff going on, from legal to interactions to automations to a bunch of bullshit, right? That's crazy to manage. So first, draw it out in boxes. The cute part is, once it's drawn out, I can do a few things. Okay. I can scroll all of this bullshit. I can copy it. It copies in Excel format. So if I jump in and I say Claude, I use Claude because of its the way.
The copies in Excel. Oh, here I've been saving it like a sucker every time. I can just copy it.
Yeah, just copy that shit. And you just come in here. So the first thing is, if you're in Claude, get the max plan. It's expensive, I know. but to get it, it has Claude Code. So get it, it's $100 a month or something like that. Create a project so you can organize people. Like for instance, I'm building out systems for the city of Austin. It's big as shit. It's $1 million type deals. Use Claude. It works. Let's jump into GFunnel. So now it has its project. Let's just say I'm starting here, paste that bullshit, right? Next thing, so it understands it. So I'll jump back, take a screenshot of the processes you just built. Okay, let me just do selected area. Selected area, and I'll just, again, is that cool if I just show the entire process? People can copy me, whatever. Okay, cool. Next piece, you download that, you add that piece, right? So now we have some information, some context, right? And we say, hey.
Wait, so you need both the XML file and the screenshot of the same thing?
I would. The reason why is AI's, I'm going to be judged for what I say here, like very, very, very much. And I don't mean this defensive, but AI is the most brilliant, most intelligent, autistic child.
We said the same thing. Michael and I say the exact same thing every call. You're not going to be judged, trust me.
Okay, cool. That's what it is. So it's brilliant. Oh, crazy. But you have to be extremely defined. So if I just copy this stuff, it knows the structure, but it doesn't know quite how the structure flows, if that makes sense. Yeah. If you take a picture,
let me put it in another term. There's another thing. What it's missing is that visual that you put conveys information that is not represented in the connections between points. What I mean is you grouped things by importance, by likeness. That is actual data and information. But if you just give the AI, this point connects to this point, it's missing the spatial spot. So by giving the spreadsheet, you're giving that AI more context of importance and how those things relate to each other in the whole system. So having a structure for how you map. So by the way, guys, like Cam, you said, hey, you just throw some things on the sheet. Like that is part of it. But you also have to be cognizant of how you're visually arranging things because that contains data as well. Anyway.
Right.
So yeah, that's why.
Without being too complex, that's exactly it. Every little piece, every little thing contains a gap of process. So you have visual gaps of process, you have data gaps of process. And what are we doing now? We're talking, right? I'll show you another gap of process. So let's just say we build this out. When you build it out, you are going to record yourself. You are, okay? You're going to record and transcribe yourself, okay? We use something called Komodo. Komodo's better than Loom. If you want to challenge me on that, let's fight, right? No, it's better.
So I would just believe you.
Yeah, it's a billion times better than this. I'll show you why, okay? So let's say I'm building out a process. So let's say this is a strategy that I'm building out. This is a strategy.
You just analyze it to ensure that it is
for, you can kind of see some of this stuff, but this is a strategy, internal strategy for the University of Texas and the city of Austin, a negotiation deal that they're working on, right? So anyways, I build out this process. So let's say I build this out. I'm talking through it. So I'm like, this means this, and this is this. And I'm doing the exploration with it, right? What this does is, of course, it gathers all my clicks. So you can see every single click that I've ever done, the links to every click that I've ever done. That's one thing, right? That's one piece. The next piece is the transcription. So if I wanted, I copy this bad boy, right? And I can create an SOP, an AI SOP through the same system. I copy that bad boy and I paste this bad boy right here, right? Nothing too hard yet, right? Then I press submit and I'll fast forward sometimes, right? So I'll fast forward a time. So I just did that, but I'll fast forward a little time. Let's just say we're doing our application module. I'll just show you, okay? So building out an application module. So I'll give you an example. This is our application module, right? Where people manage all of their apps. I think it looks like shit. That's just me personally. I think it's bad, right? It works, but it's bad. So I wanted to rebuild one. So I did the same thing. I built the processes, right? I added it to Claude. And then all of a sudden it goes and builds all this bullshit for me. Okay. Bullshit. I mean, you have to ask the right questions. You have to define it correctly. You have to get it into the right process. Once there, usually when this thing's almost maxed out in data, I ask for something called an MD. It's a markdown. So I say, can you give me a page stat MD, right? It's a markdown. What this does is this summarizes my entire thread, every detail, everything that I went through with ChatGPT or Claude, everything that I went through, it organizes it into a usable fashion, right? If I'm building a project for a client, say if you notice exceeded Mac, like, I can't do it anymore, right? That's what it's telling me. It's because I got my MD right here already, if that makes sense. Like, I've got it. I usually get it to about the limit, and then I get an MD. What an MD looks like, I'll just see if I can pop it up here. This would be like an MD. Claude and this. Once I have that, if let's say I'm managing a project, let's just pretend I'm managing a project, right? So I'm in our project management system. This is the best one, by the way. It's pretty awesome. It's better than ClickUp, Asana, and every freaking thing else. It's called Get Scrum. No one heard of it, but it's good, I promise. Skipping past that, I'm selling them.
One thing to just take a pause on.
Sure.
So those MDs that you created, Mario was referencing when he was talking about documentation earlier. That's a great example of it, where we were talking about, hey, you have a V1 of the app that you've done, is that you can then create a bunch of things about the user experience and siloing things out. And then he threw that into his Manus skill. So yeah, anyway, so just keeping people who've been, if anyone's actually going through this, that's where we're at here.
If it's too complex, I'm sorry, but it makes sense. I promise there's merit. This is where it has merit. Think of it as each square that you just did has its own MD. You build out this perfect process, right? It's great. It's amazing. But how the hell do we build this shit? Oh my gosh, if I throw it over to Claude, I'm going to get hallucination. If I throw it over to Lovable, oh my gosh, I'm going to get hallucination. It's not going to build it the way that I want. And then all of a sudden now it costs me freaking credits, right? So what you do, you build out an MD for every one that you're working on, right? Some can be tied together. You grab that MD. Let's just say we're dealing with Lovable.
When you say you build an MD for each one of them, do you mean you ask Claude for an MD for each one, or you create, like, you write down what it means, like you put all the information you have about each one of them separately and create an MD out of it?
Great question. It depends on the complexity of the module. So if the module is a simple module, I ask Claude to detail it within the page stat. So any basically what a page stat does is it think of it as like, it can have multiple MDs within itself, if that makes sense. And it can be a pretty long document. Does that make sense?
I'm still like wrapping my head around this.
So maybe a way of maybe saying is, so take a look at if you could just put the visual of the map up for a second. Yeah. So if you're looking at this, and let's say someone wanted to follow a bare bones version of what we're talking about here, you'd make a map and then break this map up into sections, right? Maybe breaking up into 3 or 4 chunks, and then start with a description, getting the AI to make a description of what that whole module is, right? Maybe the lead gen portion at the top, maybe the registration and onboarding. Is that maybe a simple way to get started with that, without somebody getting too lost in? The
simplest way is like this. Like, without the complexity, it's what's going to happen. Let's say you're building like a landing page or a website for somebody, right? The simplest way is, whoops, let me zoom in. You have traffic. Who cares how you got it? Whoops, let me get back. You have traffic. The next easy way is, what the hell are you doing? Are you building a website for somebody? Well, a website is just a navigation piece. It just navigates people to a landing page that can sell them or whatnot, right? So let's just say we'll just call it a landing page, right? No, we'll call it a freaking website. We'll call it a freaking website. Why not? You have traffic and it connects to your website. Your website can have crazy amounts of variables, but who gives a shit? We don't care about how many pages you have. We don't care about how many content you have. It's a variable. The next piece is maybe you have a landing page. So what I'm showing here is just like how to do it very simple without the complexity, right? Basically, you're going to have traffic. You're going to do ads to a landing page. Your website is going to connect to that landing page as well. Your website is mostly designed for either signups, right, or logins. That's really what it's designed for. Anything else should probably go through a landing page and sell these people, okay? let's just kind of do it like that, right? And this will be set up and stuff. Let's say somebody starts here. Okay. Now, if you expand from here, let's say you're like, I don't know the website that I want. I don't know any of those stuff. It's like, cool, go grab some stuff, right? Like, who do you like? Who do you follow? Who resonates with you? Let's say it's like you're a security provider, like alarm.com does. I love them. It's like, great, go to their freaking page, take a screenshot of the entire freaking page, because you're going to build something similar, right? You tell AI,
So
similar.
if you don't mind me jumping in, like
I'm gonna
starting with just this, starting at this layer and try, like, people need some experience with this, right? So you start with this layer, and what Cam's saying is that what you're going to find is that this is going to work, get you 80% of the way there. What if you have a more complex system where you have more understanding of what your website is and what your landing page, you might need to break those down into even smaller chunks because they need their own description. But if you don't want to get too lost in the sauce, start with even just breaking whatever you're building into 4 sections, and then you can go deeper from there. So yeah, anyway, Cam, keep on going, my dude. This is freaking awesome. I'm taking notes like crazy right now. So yeah.
So now, I mean, if this was me and I was working with a client, this is what I would do. I'd start kind of here, right? And then what I would do, I would pull up, there are a few softwares. This is why we have like this type of thing, right? There are a few different softwares, and I'm sorry, Go High Level, you are not the only software that everyone should use. And nobody, this is my opinion. Hopefully you guys hate me for this. Nobody should ever build their business within Go High Level. Sean, you heard that maybe. Nobody ever should
say that. What do you mean?
I mean, legality wise, control wise, I guess my AI's zooming on me. It's getting ready to listen in. Legality wise, control wise, everything wise, data wise, everything. Like,
so you're talking about as in like from the white label side of things, or like if I'm selling things, I shouldn't sell them from within pages and run my courses in high level?
No, you can't like use it for that, but don't, like, most agencies, they use Go High Level as like their own, like, this is my ecosystem and I'm using it and I white label it, and it is built for disaster. And I mean, if you take the history of me, if you don't know the history of me, just look up the history of me. If you take that history, it's amazing, absolutely amazing, amazing add-on, amazing software, amazing in every single way. Just don't put your whole business in there. Okay. If that's enough. Okay, scooting on, there are a lot of awesome software. So
let's just keep going.
Yeah, keep going, or I'll get Betsy to come after me. No, I'm kidding. Betsy, is that her name? Betsy, yeah. Should be.
All right,
I'll keep going. Okay, so now what you do, I jump into something called Visual Sitemap. Visual Sitemap. Now this is on AppSumo. It's pretty freaking cheap and it's absolutely worth it. Okay, if you don't know AppSumo, it's pretty awesome. Okay, but this is what I do. I come into here, I log into this guy. Let's just log in. I think it's my admin account. Okay, I have a website. So let's just say I'm dealing with this guy right here. This is a big company. So if you know Mountain Archery is a pretty large company. They're like a Cabela's large, if you know what Cabela's is. Okay, so, and I do a scan, and we have about 2,200 pages on their website. Currently, they use a Shopify for their entire system, and we'll change that eventually. But what this ends up doing is it takes screenshots and pictures of all the pages, all the context, everything that they have online that is scrapable.
Automatically? It's like you put the URL and it goes through and like maps it all out?
Yep. So easy. Like, URL, what are the parameters I want to do? Do I only want to include what's in the page or external? And I press go. Crawlers take care of every freaking thing else. Why I use this is if a client ever comes in and they're like, well, I need to change something. It's like, cool, click change. Tell me what you want, right? Tell me what you want to do. Give me 1 second. Wifey's going to kill me. Hi, wifey. Can I give you a call back in a moment? I'm in a live. No, I'm in a live video. Okay, I love you. Bye. Okay, I have to say that or she'll kill me. No, I'm kidding. But somebody can come in and comment, but that's not the purpose of it, right? Like, this is just a plus, right? People can come in and do that. Here's the purpose of it. I have their entire website. It's a bunch of chaos. It's a bunch of BS, right? We'll just call it BS. It's chaos, but it's organized chaos. So we grab this little share icon, share link, and I just come right over here. Now, if this was the website, I just literally edit link, add that, share. I don't need that crazy complex website. I just have a square. Same with chat like GPT or Claude. Claude can expand the complexities of websites. They can expand the content. They can expand all of that stuff. You don't need to give it you need to give it a working base, an MD to work from, and it can expand the knowledge from there based off of online trends, based off all this other stuff. Okay. Now I'll summarize. I'll kind of summarize. So let's just say we have that. We copy and paste it. We then bring it over to Lovable. Okay. So now we have Lovable. Right. Let me log in real quick. And with Lovable, make sure you use a freaking, if you don't have one, a student ID or a teacher ID. Saves you $12.50, right? But anyway, so now what we can do is we can come in and we can grab it. So let's just say this is the new application module. Lovable is extremely good with front-end beauty and design, but it sucks really bad on the back-end complexity. It can do simplistic complexity, but it can't do crazy back-end complexity. So the first thing that you do is you create the beautiful looking XYZ, right? Let's say this is it. It's beautiful, right? You create the module and you create the surface level module. Then there's this little share icon right up here that is called GitHub. You click on GitHub, boop, and then you link it to your repository. And if you don't have a GitHub account, you get one, okay? You get one, just that simple. Now what ends up happening is you have like a list of repositories. Keep them private. You don't want people to see it, right? Then what you do, so now let's say we have everything. We got the design, we have the MDs, we have all of the information. Let's say we follow those steps. We had GitHub, right? We already have our account in GitHub, and we click this button to connect it. Now it's connected. Then what we're going to do with those exact same MDs, the exact ones that we had, we're going to get one more MD from Lovable. We say, hey, can you help me get a page, and always say page stat MD.
What does MD stand for again?
Markdown.
Markdown.
Yep. And then you press submit. Now, again, it has your strategy, it has your process, it has your recording from your voice because you transcribed everything, right? It has your clicks, so it knows the AI has enough information to decide.
Enough angles of the same thing. Like it's kind of a 3D module in a way of like all angles you can see something. Yeah.
You got it. You got it. Next thing is you get the MD from here, and then what it ends up doing, it creates a document for you. So see public docs. I should have an MD in here. Let me just check. Where did it go?
I just got a couple MDs and it didn't put them all at the top like I'm used to for some reason. I don't know why. So yeah, something's weird.
I usually have it in my documentation piece. But anyways, it will come in, it'll create that thing for you. It'll grab all that, what we call BS again, because that's an easy word for people to connect to. It will do that, and then it will connect. There's my MDs. There you go. So I would have an MD like this, right? So now it has everything structured. Then what I'm going to do is so Claude Code doesn't allow you to add attachments. But what they do allow is this little copy and paste guy right here, right? So I copy it.
Wait, you said you're talking about code or versus Lovable?
No, Claude Code.
So you're copying the thing instead of attaching it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So because the Claude Code, you can't attach it. Like I could download it and I could try to attach it, but I can't attach it, right? I have to do it in Claude Code. So
okay.
Now let's say I transition. So again, this is complex because we're using a few different things, right? But this is how you build a $100,000 infrastructure very, very quickly, right? It is a little bit complex. But so let's say I grab this guy, I copy this. Now I come over here. Okay, now I'm in Claude. I come over to the code side, right? And I'll show you so this way you can see from start. So from start, I would come right here, right? And I would say, let's finish this project, right? Very easy. That's what we're going to do. And then what I would do, since it doesn't have the ability, it has the ability to do pictures, but I don't have the ability to attach files like an MD, I copy and I paste that MD. The MD is now there. The next thing that I do is I find my host. What host am I working with? In this case, I'm going to do default because my default is GitHub. Okay. Next, I'm going to click my repository. Does that all make sense so far? Or too complex?
I feel like this is a field where I'm relatively new, so there's a lot of things that I know that I need to go more into. So like I'm just getting the overview, and at some point I'll start diving into each one of those separately and understand more.
Yeah.
I'll have some,
I think finish it off, because I think, there's going to be some things that I think I've also even gone off the trail, but I know if I go through it a second time, I'll get it. So finish it. Finish it through the proper way, and we'll get because that's great. We can always go through the transcript after. So yeah.
So we'd find this repository, this one, security Spark ads, right? For whatever freaking reason. So I'd come into my repository. Whoops, where did I put it? Yeah, we'll just do it in here. Sorry, Claude. There we go. I would come into my repository, right? And I'd say, well, which repository am I dealing with, right? Do you guys see it here somewhere?
What are we looking for?
There it is, right? That's what we were looking for. I was just playing a little game. But I would do this, and then I would just simply go submit, right?
So actually, let me get a recap just to make sure I'm following along. So we mapped things out. We did the screenshot. We gave it the XMLs. We created some MDs or technical specs of what is actually kind of happening there. You went through to a client website that you are going to be doing work with to kind of get some background of what their current site is or how it's doing. You went into Lovable and you threw all that in, and it created a thing that you have now thrown into.
So create the front end, and then you get the MD, put that into Claude.
Oh yeah, you created a front end. You then copied all that. So now your next AI has the reference of this front end. It has something to plug into all of that data into now.
And when
I actually followed it a little bit.
And when I connect it to my repository, so if I jump into here, right, and I jump into this guy, here's now my repository with everything. And I give credit to Mario for this one. I wasn't using GitHub before. Mario, good job. We had a meeting. So, and Mario's like, what the hell are you doing? You're not using GitHub? And it's like, no, freaking no. Now I'm using it. It's pretty cool. I understand.
Is GitHub a way to document code, basically?
GitHub's a way to submit updates. So you can work on the updates that's not live, and then you can pull those updates and merge those in. That's one way of doing it. Another way is freaking amazing for large customers that are like, we need our own data, right? We need our own files. Great. Put it on GitHub, and they can what's called a fork into your repository. My suggestion, though,
the code files or the data of like things that are happening.
Code files. So two different things. So one's a database, right? One is the structure of process.
Right.
So the database is like, here's a page, kind of what's on that page, kind of, if you build your database that way. On the other side, it's like, we want to pull from this HTML, we want to pull this CSS, and we want to do this one. It's the function or the process of it, right? So you create it here, right? And what it does, it creates on a main branch. So if you notice, there's a main branch. That's what Lovable does. It has something called a two-way sync. A two-way sync allows you to edit in the background on the main branch, and it automatically changes stuff here, meaning you never use your Lovable credits again. Once your design is done, you don't have to use your Lovable credits anymore unless you desire to, unless you're like, it's easy.
Update the design, unless you need to change things, right?
Yeah. Well, not even change things. You can change everything from the back end. You can just tell it to change everything. It'll change everything. But if you want it to, like this backend right here, yeah, Claude. It'll do.
Claude change the code that Lovable created instead of using the Claude, instead of using the Lovable credits.
Yep, you got it. So now it uses
from the GitHub, you push it in.
Yep, but there's a missing gap. Here's the missing gap. When you do this, it creates a branch. This is called a branch. So I have the main. This one's automatically getting updated. Now this
version, basically.
Like this is the direct connection to Lovable that Lovable is showing you, if that makes sense.
But the branches are basically versions.
The branches, they can be versions, but what Claude does is Claude just creates a new branch, copies everything that you have, and now it edits that specific branch, so it's not touching the main one. Then when you're ready, you do something called like a pull request or a merge. And then you can merge these would be like, yeah, think of these as like versions, like you were right. Yeah, like versions, right? That Claude edited. You can then merge that and it'll make this one live. Again, I know that's complex, but this is the reason why you do it. Claude can do crazy, amazing back-end development. If you've experienced it, they can do like phenomenal stuff, right?
So Lovable is the container of the visuals and the kind of more user experience. And now you're using Claude to kind of to maintain the architecture understanding of what everything else is. And then you're just using then Claude to then make all of the, it's almost like the brain or the controller of things at that point.
You got it. And then
just to make sure I understand, the credits in Lovable, they're per prompt, basically, every time you prompt the credits?
Yep.
Okay.
So per prompt, you have an MD and it takes a lot. It's a lot of oof. So you don't want to keep on building on there because you have a complex process. And if you're trying to tell it, it's like, I don't quite know. Maybe I have some information. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'm going to hallucinate. I don't freaking know. What do you got? If you got it perfect, it'll build it, but it'll cost you.
Yeah.
If you don't have it perfect, it'll build it and it'll cost you. So there's a risk. So if let's say you're playing chess, right? You have a risk analysis. The best risk analysis is jump into freaking Claude, had Claude talk it out with you, and Claude will build out every single one of the processes. It'll update your GitHub on this channel. So again, this is my Lovable, let's just say. Now this is my Claude. Copies the exact same files over, right? It'll build out everything the exact way that you want. And if once you're like, oh, Claude, can you build an instance where I can see it? It'll do all of those things for you. And then when you're ready, you do a request to pull it and merge it. And that's it. And then you can come in and do like crazy complex like systems. Like I'll show you. I have 200 credits left. See, so you can even see this. I still use a shit ton of credits. I have 200 left and I have this big old emptiness, right? It's empty in my heart. But anyways, like you can build some crazy complex stuff. Like for instance, like we wanted to build an AI page, right? Claude, the normal Claude template just looks like shit. So how do you build it? How do you customize it? How do you change it to the way it looks? How do you change the way that everything happens for an enterprise level client? You mix those two. And the difference is money. You can build it for somebody who doesn't care. And I mean, again, not that GHL is bad or anything, but they're like, I need a GHL website. And it's like, but the page load speed just sucks. Do an audit. Like all of these things are issues, but that's beside the point. My suggestion is you build it here, you organize it in folders, you connect it, tag it to people, right? And then you can build freaking everything. Like, again, here's an example.
We got a question. If you don't, I think this is a good spot to be able to pull you out for a second. Jay was asking, are you doing the request to pull and merge branches? Is that just Claude managing that whole side and you just tell it to and it does, or?
I have to finalize it. So great question. I'll show you the great question. So when this is done, I'm going to get a little icon right here and it's going to say PR request. I think it is, or request PR. Sometimes I'm dyslexic. There's going to be a little box right here in Claude. You click that little box, boop, right? That's all you do. It'll go and it'll do the request. It'll do absolutely everything for you, but it will not merge. It won't take that final action for you. So then once I have the pull request done, I jump back to my GitHub. So let's say I'm in my GitHub. A pull request would pop up right here, right? I don't know if I can show any old ones closed. Let's just something like this, right? They'll say like this, a comprehensive input, blah, blah, blah bullshit, right? I click on it. I close this one because it had an error, right? And there's a box right here. This box right here would be different. It'll change based off of the circumstance. This box will normally have like something like, are you ready to merge, or merge the pull request or something like that. I don't know the exact wording, but it'll have that. And this will be green and it'll say merge or merge request. It's something along those lines. You click on that button, boop, and then sure enough, it updates to the main line practically automatic without you having to know really anything about GitHub. It'll do most everything for you. Does that answer that question?
That basically means it updates it in the like
Yep.
app itself.
Yep, updates it in the app
The
itself.
code lives here.
You got it. Yep. And you would have like a little pop-up would come up and it'll tell you, oh, this has been changed, right? Like, let's see if I can find one. I'm still editing some design on that one. Let me just see. I think I can do this one. You would get, here it is. So you get a little pop-up like this, and it says merge pull request number 2, right? That means I didn't use any code on or on Lovable whatsoever. In the backend, it automatically pushed this in, and this is just showing me an update. So this whole thing is now updated. That's basically what you see. And now what does that allow somebody to do? So now let's just say you are with GHL. Now I'm going to tell you how good it is. Is that cool? Can I go on that path, or is that too much for everybody so far?
I don't know, let's go. I'm here.
Okay. So this is how good GHL is. Again, don't build your business on it, but use the hell out of it. Okay. So now let's just say, let's jump into what would be a good one? And we'll just do this one. We'll just do our online or onboarding process. So again, every module of your entire business, build a system around it because there's multiple processes. This is our onboarding process, right? So if I jump in, it's the same thing as me jumping into www.gfunnel.com/setup. Right. Same thing. I just did a little bit different stuff. Okay. There's a way in which you can connect database, and there's a way in which you can connect things. I believe it's called like edge connection or something. I don't know the exact term, but Lovable does. You can say, I want to connect it to a SQL database, and you can work through the prompts to be able to do that. But I'm just giving you an example. So we have our onboarding process, right? Our onboarding process automatically syncs to this specific account. It automatically pulls in an API request through N8N. Like I said, it's complex as shit. Okay, it pulls in a lot of stuff, right? Automatically does that. And then what it does is it creates a custom account for everybody. So everybody gets a unique custom experience. We use N8N, we use a few different softwares. Now, where does Go High Level come into play in all of this stuff, right? A few things. Number one, they have a tracking widget, that window widget. Put that on your website, hide it if you have to. It tracks all activity. It's freaking awesome.
The external tracking, the new thing?
Like, the chat widget. So just the normal, I'm looking up here, but the video's over here. The chat bubble, that, yeah. Like, yeah. Put that everywhere. It embeds a code, and then that code tracks everybody's activity. So if you pull up a record, let's say I pull up Michael's in our system, I can see everything he's ever done on GFunnel, ever. I can say, oh, where have you ever been? And I have very deep tracking on this stuff. So
right,
use it.
But then you have to use, like, if they message you or anything, or someone fills up the widget, you're bound to GHL.
Oh no. This is where it gets good. You add it, and then you also get a little bit of code. I would do this in a Google Tag Manager because you can do it easy with them there. Add the tag, it pops up. Create some custom CSS that hides that thing.
Okay.
It's gone, but the tracking.
How do you pull the data? Do you pull the data from GHL into this app to be aware of all these things?
I make them all talk.
With API, basically, you pull all the data about the contact? Kind
of. So it's everything from the forms. GHL has really good forms. I'll embed those forms, right? If they don't have really good forms, then I'm going to API into a custom form and bring it in. Like, for instance, GHL cannot do something like this. I'll show you. They cannot do, like, I'll show you on this guy. Actually, I'll show you in the sandbox. upsmith.gfunnel.com. So sandbox account, right? What GHL can't really do is this. So first, if I click here, I have a a Python system that goes and automatically verifies an API token based on a specific company. GHL can't do that. It's custom code. So now I build this form with custom code because I want all those things to work together. AKA, I build it in Lovable. It can do it very easily, if that makes sense. Let's now submit that. So let's just pretend I don't, and let's submit. Next thing is the way in which the calendars function. Sometimes GHL can do that, right? Because you can add some custom CSS and you can make it look like a specific way. An easier way to do things is just build it however you want, whether you want to use JHL, whether you want to use jot form, it doesn't freaking matter. Build it the way you want. Use like Lovable or vibe coding to build it the way you want. Then in the back end, just say, hey, let's connect this to N8N, right? So I'll just show, like, we have our API hub, N8N. And then you do not build this stuff. Like, you do not build like, oh, I'm going to come here and I'm going to build these random, like, oh, the crazy chaos. How the frick do I build? Screw that. No, you go to Claude, not Claude Code, but the one that you were already building the MDs in, right? This guy right here. And you say, can you help me build an N8N, whoops, not N, sorry, an N8N JSON file for all connections and all systems, right? I didn't say much. I just said, you have a bunch of chaos. Now let's organize it. So I tell it, right? I click that. And then what ends up happening, it'll go through all my stuff. I reached the max on here, so I would actually create a new chat, but I have the MD, right? Actually, maybe I'll just do it right now. Boom. Here, I'll just show you. MD. See, let's say I'm doing a new chat. I don't have to do a new chat.
So this is regular Claude versus Claude Code.
This is regular Claude. Yep.
So regular Claude allows you to attach files, but Claude
Yep.
Code doesn't.
You got it. You got it. Yep. So then I can say, can you build me an N8N JSON with all connections, all processes, all webhooks? I don't freaking know, right?
Yeah.
Whatever we built, right? I would do that, and then I would just press submit. It knows the MD. It knows the markdown. It knows all of those things. So it'll go through, it'll read all of that stuff. And then sure enough,
it's basically a screenshot of everything we know so far, like summarized in a very detailed way.
You got it, in a very concise, organized, proper way. So AI is very good at organization, very, very good at organization and data processing. But it's not so good at like multiple thinking. It's not like, oh, well, this conversation happened here and this one there. It's like, it's not so good at that part. So what you do is you just kind of give it that, right? In this case, I already have it connected to my N8N as a connector. So if I didn't, I get a JSON file, I download it, I come into the N8N and I click the 3 dots and I press import from file. I click that guy. Let's see if I have a JSON. Here's a JSON. I'll just throw it in there. I click that guy, I connect it, and then sure enough, I have the entire system built. I don't have to do, I mean, I copied and pasted. I didn't freaking do anything, right?
I mean, you still need to make sure everything is connected and everything is working now. Like, does it? I doubt it just works off the bat.
It doesn't, yeah, you're right. What I need is I would need
so I still need to know how to use N8N.
Little bit.
Okay.
You need to know how to connect it. Like, for instance, if my Google Drive is not connected, you need to know how to connect it. It has most everything done for me. So it's going to come in, it's going to create all of this stuff the way that I need it to be created. So the way to now test it is you trigger it in a test instance. You see if it gives you the results in which you desire. If it doesn't, or if it has an error, then you look at that and you tell Claude, I have an error on this one. I don't know what to do, right?
Yeah. Then you ask it.
It'll solve it for you. And then sure enough, you have a crazy complex N8N. In my piece, I have it connected. So all I have to do is just press allow or allow always. I'll just allow always, right? And now what it's going to do is it's going to know what I want. It's going to see those details. It's going to automatically log in because it has I think it's an MCP server. It's going to automatically log into my N8N and it's going to automatically create all of that crazy complex stuff for me. And let's just say I have that go high level. And I'm like, oh, go high level. I need to connect into you. Go high level has the same type of server, if that makes sense. It can automatically create, automatically connect. And then all I have to do is just make sure my connections to go high levels there, and then everything's organized for me.
So it pulls the data from high level, like regarding, when I say data, I mean like contact records, all the objects and their records. It'll be able to pull so we can have it in a different database.
if you authenticate it. So if you give it the permissions to do so, yeah, it'll do.
You create the app and the scope and everything on like the app marketing.
Scopes. Yeah, the MCP server, I believe on Go High Level already has the scopes and everything in there. You just have to connect the server. You just connect the server to it. I don't know if it's public or not. It may be, right? I had to find it, but I found where the server's at, the MCP server. I found its entire scope, and I just connected it. Like, I think I just came into here, and I'm saying I think because I don't freaking know. I think I came into here, and I think I had connectors, and I think I have it. Yep, right there. There's your server. Here, if anyone needs it, I'll give you it. I'm not going to give you my personal stuff, but there's a server. Now, right, what can Claude do? Claude can create anything within the scope within GHL. I don't freaking need another tool or anything. It can create absolutely everything. It can create anything in N8N. And then I mixed.
Will it create like when you say it can create everything in GHL, it won't build websites. It won't create workflows. Like, what does it mean? What will it build? It can create custom fields, yeah, and custom values because that's on the API, and like create invoices.
So anything within its scope, it'll create.
So what I mean is like, just from my understanding, is like it's more in like the day-to-day use versus the build. It won't build things, but it can use things. So it can send invoices. It can like pull data, but it won't build things in GHL.
It doesn't create workflows yet. I don't think, right? It doesn't have. They don't have that scope yet.
Because of
I don't know if it has that scope yet. Yeah, I don't know if it has that.
No, it doesn't.
I know that what we use the GHL for. I mean, I'll show you what we use it for. I don't ever run into that instance because this is basically what I use it for.
But sorry, one second there, Leo though. But if you can connect to the calendars and the invoices and the messaging, what he's saying is like you've built all of the automations are happening in N8N.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But not forms. You can't build but then also the form and also the website and all of these will be separated. So you're only using the functionality you need from GHL, like invoices. You only use the functionality you need, like sending an Instagram DMs instead of doing it like from somewhere else. For example,
so there's still going to be some manual bridges, but then I guess
without the UI, you use the function
basically, like kind of like. So again, the reason I say it, like GHL is a good, again, some people don't believe it, but it is a very good communication platform.
Right.
Very good communication and very good organization platform based off of the CRM pieces and then based off of most of the operations. The things that the scope should be able to cover is social media posting, all of your social media content. So it can create all of the content. It can create all of that stuff and bring it in. All of your blogs can be created within that system. Right. I don't know if your automations can, but I'll just show you. I mean, this is how we do it. We just have a preset automations, right? So if I go into operations, let's say I'm working on, let's say a communication piece, and it's like, okay, client communication, everything is the same, meaning I'll jump back to a marketing campaign because that's a little complex, right? Everything is the same. So we say, okay, we're going to do a blog article campaign. Our blog template, right? This is like our template for that we just modulize for sending one friggin' email out. Right? It detects every aspect of that one email, not like I'm sending like a sequence of emails, it's just one email. So we have one template for sending emails, right? It's just what we do. And then we have one template for like sequences. So if I jump in first referral, let's just jump in that SQL. And then I have, we have, when we're doing a campaign, we just organize it in two sections. We say one is an invite section, right? The invite section's based off them.
So if you don't mind me slowing down just for a second here, are you saying what you've built here is you're building the functions, like you're building little micro functions that can then be run? So it's like when you said, I have this one workflow for sending an email, you've just created a function that's the part that the AI won't be able to build for you, but you build that function and now you just let every email goes through that.
Yeah, it just goes through
one workflow.
It does a little bit different. Like there's like, if I wanted,
but conceptually, that's what you've just done. You've built a whole bunch of tools for the N8N server to then use.
You got it. So
gotcha,
all these things are like tools, and then whatever is missing, like So these are like digital tools, like sending's a digital, like those are digital, but it's like what's missing is what if I freaking need to log into a damn software and do the same freaking process over and over and over and over and over again, right? Python can cover that, but Python can be complex. So then you connect one more dot. Again, this is where the crazy bullshit happens. You connect one more dot, right? You connect it to something called an RPA, robotic process automation, basically, right? And then from there, I would never have AI build this guy. Personally, I wouldn't, because if you mess something up, you mess something up. So I just walk through it. What's the operation? What needs to happen? And then all of a sudden it's built out. This is the exact operation that needs to happen every single time. It doesn't change. The only thing that changes is, let's say it's a variable. That's a variable, right? But the structure stays the same. Then all of a sudden I can say, hey, somebody signed up. And I say, N8N, you trigger all your bullshit. And then GHL, you trigger all your bullshit. So it's running campaigns. It's doing all of its automation. And then all of a sudden it's like, crap, normally I would have to do a manual process. Instead, I say, I've done that enough where I program this. I just simply bring.
So another way, this is also useful for you, Leo, just a real quick second there. It's like when we're thinking of the module and how we build snapshots and things into high level, it's always been very function based, right?
Right.
The thing that gets complicated is when we're trying to do all of the logic and working around high level and blah, blah, things like that.
Right.
But I think this thing, it's like, let's build the function. We're building the functions, and now we're, instead of trying to manage all of the dynamicness of it, we're just building the functions and then giving the tags, those triggers to the N8N, and or the AI, let it figure it out.
Yeah.
We're out. Yeah.
The value lies within the process, and it always has. Like it always has.
So Leo, ask your question. Sorry for interrupting you, Cam. I just want to make sure Leo gets his thing out too. So that because I just jumped in on him.
You're good.
I have so many. The zero work platform. What's the difference? What does that allow you to do that the others don't? Because you're talking about like repetitive. Yeah, repetitively, I send in a reminder email before a meeting. GHL does it. So like, what's the difference?
So that's a digital.
We're like talking about like 3 different automation softwares right now at the same time that have different functions.
It's chess. It's chess.
Yeah. And like 3 different vibe code apps at the same time. And like 2 different databases at least, or 3 different databases. So I'm like, that's what I'm trying to.
So what you have to do is there's automatic function, or I call it digital function. Digital function means that it has the ability to connect with like an API. It has the ability to send data back and forth. It has the ability to trigger something to take an action, like, so let's say sending an email, right? It's triggering it, and then the email has its own module, and the module sending, right? There's actions online on a computer, right? That are rather impossible to accomplish because they're missing APIs, because they're missing infrastructure, because they're missing stuff, right? Yeah. And instead of just like giving them the middle finger and saying F you say, oh, let me quickly build a process that now I can still use those good tools, right? So let's say you're wanting to scroll online, find a specific, my AI is zooming on me again, find a specific directory. Let's just say it's a directory listing, right? You have a directory listing, you want a system to go and reach out and grab all of those contacts, right? Because they're prospects, raw prospects, but they're still prospects, right? Grabs all those prospects, brings them into another system, and then your digital actions start happening. Your digital organization, your digital communication, your digital marketing, your digital XYZ starts happening. But the process is, I have to log into this damn website. I have to grab this damn information and I have to bring it. Or let's say you're like an energy provider and you're like, well, they don't have API. So I have to manually click this and manually click this and manually click this, right? What this one does is basically it connects the digital API world to the requiring manual process physical world, if that makes sense.
Okay, so it pretends to be a human.
Yes, there you go. Yes. It's something called an RPA, or robotic process automation.
So it basically like puts the mouse on the button, clicks it, copies this area, pastes it there. So it's kind of what the ChatGPT agent used to do. Like does like when you can see it like actually going in and build things for you.
Yeah, so it does that. Lovable does that, but there's a point where it's hard for them to do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you just cover all bases.
It sounds like if you're at this layer, this you probably shouldn't be doing your V1 version of doing this. Shouldn't probably include the
100%.
robotic process automation. You should
100%.
think start with a manual thing and still let it be manual.
Right.
And then when that becomes your bottleneck, the manual becomes your bottleneck. Then but just keep in mind that it is possible.
It's possible, yes.
But maybe not for you to. Maybe
Right
not
now.
for you. Like for me, I would hit that point and go, okay, I'm gonna go talk to Cam and he'll help me on that spot. But I have to do everything else before that point.
Here's the best way to organize it to that point. So I always say organize it in 3 categories. So category number 1 is your chores. Your chores are your daily repetitive tasks that take up 70 to 80% of your time during that day, and just they're bullshit. Okay, that's chores. Your projects are number 2. Projects are your delegation, your systems to help automate those chores and to give you back time. And then your third column is your asks and your needs. Asks and needs are if somebody asks you to do something, right? There's one sector. Or if a client or something needs to happen, like let's say you're like, shit, I don't have any money. It's like, cool. Well, you need to make money. And if you organize it in those 3 sectors, right, you can usually solve most everything. So think of it as like you have 1 million tasks that you have to complete this year. And the likelihood of you completing those tasks is probably slim to none. But the only process and the only way to achieve that 1 million tasks that have to be done in your business is to start somewhere. And you start with your chores. Then you start with the delegation and automation of the things that take up way too much freaking time, right? And you slowly bring those down, but it's not like, oh, well, I just brought them down. And now it's like, oh, now I have like 30% of my life left. Like, or I'm only working 30% and I have this big window, right? Tim Ferriss, right? No, do it, refill those tasks, refill those chores. Keep it at that 70 to 80 threshold. So you're just miserable and you hate life and you're an entrepreneur, right? Keep it there because we're used to it. Go get some Taco Bell, go get the shit that gets us going, right? Sorry for my language. Get the stuff that gets us going, but keep it there. What it allows you to do is, I mean, number 1, how many clients can you manage at that point? Well, if you're doing it this way, like I get clients that come in, they pay residuals, right? Or reoccurring, and then they send me a task and I have that task done immediately. And I even had a client tell me, he's like, Kim, I have a question for you. It's like, what? It's like, the task gets done immediately. And I says, yeah. He's like, well, the rest of the market, it takes them like a set amount of time. Why don't you pretend to be like the rest of the market and bank the time? I says, well, 2 things. Churn. If I do it really quick, you can't go anywhere else, right? Churn. I says, that's one of the pieces. I said, the next piece is if I can encourage you to create more, I'm building you and building your company. Eventually, when that time gets, it's like, we're going to establish partnerships. We will, like, I'll own part of your company. I will. I mean, I don't need to, right? That doesn't need to happen, but it tends to. It's like that will end up happening. So that's that same power. I'll just call it the power is you. Every single human has that same exact power. It's just you're at your command center. And my suggestion is if you
the value, the automated part, it's only valuable until someone else also does that. And then the value is the fact that you can do those tasks, though, because that's now the value. Because once AI's automated everything, all that's left is, or not everything, but like most of the stuff, the problem is all those manual things that still require little edge cases. It's all that. Well, now the value is being able to do that fast. So if you abdicate that to the AI, you've already just left yourself open. It's like with me, with my clients, like the same thing. It's like, I can respond to them lightning fast because that's the value. 90% of what I did was just the entry ticket in, but the value is like, shoot, we have a technical complex problem that requires making a change to a system that affects all of our clients. Correct. Wouldn't it be great to be able to have an answer right now for it?
Correct.
Yeah.
And there's one more value piece. So, and I'll kind of end with this too. one more value, well, two more value pieces. So first, like what I just shared, hopefully you see the processes of it. I just shared with you guys something that is so valuable that you can easily make millions of dollars with it. So valuable that you can make whatever the frick you desire to make. Okay. Number two, the other value piece is the value isn't in the AI. The value isn't necessarily in the speed. It kind of is. It is right now, but eventually it won't be there. The value is in the process. The value is being able to speak with a human, pick those details out of their brain, put it on a canvas like this, build out all of the complex, crazy shit processes, right? Because it's in people's minds, it's just chaos. So I always put it like this: chaos, right? Chaos. Be able to grab all of that chaos, bring that chaos in, process all of that chaos, organize it, process it, and then deliver. And this is the mechanism: data in, data processing, data out. That's the entire mechanism of operations. That's just my personal opinion. My personal opinion, I feel that process, operations, and systems are going to be, if they're not already, the most valuable asset that anyone could ever have in business, anyone could ever have or know in their life, anyone can have. And the reason I say that is because eventually you have marketing, you have storytelling. It has its own processes. Eventually, even those processes rely on the operations, right? The sales and everything. You have the creation, the vision. Those rely on the systems of operations. Every aspect of a business, every aspect of wealth, every aspect of everything rely on the structure, the process, the system, or the operations of it. It is if I'm convincing anyone, it is the most valuable vertical to ever go. And why am I convincing you guys when I'm going on this? Why do I want competition? Because there's no such thing. It's just filling in the gap. There's competition, right? Like if you look on a micro level, but on the big level, it's like, who gives a shit? We're all the same. We're all humans.
The competition is like only on it's like only competition right now, but like somebody else could do everything you've just done. But if you're collaborating with more people, it's a lot harder for someone to compete with you, kind of thing. The more people that you're collaborating with, you're creating a system, you're creating a distribution. It's like at the very highest level. I think, what is it with the AI companies right now? What you're kind of seeing is that the bottleneck isn't who can make the best AI. The bottleneck is now who can distribute that AI through Microsoft's ecosystem, through OpenAI's system. So that's the collaborative. That's kind of a collab. If you want to think about it, you don't think of it that way, but us collaborating means that, well, if some other Cam on the other side of the planet does it on his own and keeps it all to himself, he's going to lose out to people who are doing more, faster, bigger,
100%.
and have more resources and distribution.
100%. Yep. And how you can bill for it is this becomes the new attorney. Attorneys charge $300 to $500 an hour. The average person that's charging $10 or $30 can't do it. Why? Because that's what it costs for AI. Like it costs that per hour. It's like $20 an hour for AI or whatever the case is. But now you can be the attorney. And why can you be the attorney? Because you can deliver crazy vast amounts of value very quickly. You can build software systems. You can build websites. You can build those things. And you can charge $500 an hour, $1,000 an hour to do it. If you want to charge based on your hour, you can do that. And people will say, why the hell would I pay you $500 an hour? It's like, because I can get your damn website done in 3 days and everyone else will take 3 months. Oh, jump into a discovery call. I'll do something free for you. You can see, and then we'll go from there. What happens? You build that website. They're like, holy shit, you build fast stuff. What else do you do? It's like, I do operations. Connect into the marketing operations, connect into every aspect. You become that quote unquote AI. Like you're saying, you're merging into all of these ecosystems and whatnot. You become that, you merge into people's operations, and guess what? Your churn disappears.
You know, sorry. I have to cut things up. That was a great ending point though, but friggin', oh my brain is blown.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely have to end things because I have to go. I have like 10 minutes, 15 for lunch, and then I have to jump on a client call. But thank you, Cam.
How can I learn
Appreciate
more
it.
about your stuff?
Yeah, feel free. I mean, you feel free to connect. It's not my authority. That's the key. Like, so this platform that we're on right now, it's not my authority. I don't have the authority to say, you should go to my website and do this bullshit, right?
Well,
I would
I'm
say,
curious to hear like your story and like understand more like where you're coming from. And like
yeah,
I had a big question from the beginning of this, but we don't have time for that. But it's
sure.
about like the business model behind like being able to do these things.
Yeah,
Um,
you can send me a DM if you want. But my suggestion would be whoever's authority this is, if this is Michael's authority, if you decide to jump into our platform, use his affiliate link. He gets money for it, he gets credit for it, he gets all of those things for it. And just don't go straight to me. It's a loss of value, if that makes sense. But you're
yeah,
welcome to DM me and I'll show you the path. But if you go deeper, use whoever's authority it is, if that makes sense. So they get the credit.
I get what you're saying. I'm not trying to
You can,
like hop over.
Lyra and I hang out all the time. He'll
Okay.
ping me when that happens, and
Okay, cool.
I'll have to get the link for it. Anyway, I got to ending now, boys. Thank you
Yeah.
so much,
Right.
Cam. We'll chat more down the rabbit later.